If you're an MBA aspirant aiming for IIMs or other top B schools, your number one priority has to be getting a high CAT percentile. But once that's done and you have the interview calls, your profile will go a long way in convincing them that you are the right candidate to be selected. Not just that, having a well-rounded profile will also help you stand out in summer internship placements in B schools when you're surrounded by high achievers. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Sanjana from Mockat, where you get directly mentored and coached by 99.9 plus percentilers. And in this video, I'll tell you 10 proven ways in which you can boost your profile. Some of these strategies will work for you if you're in college. Some are if you're a working professional, but many will work for you irrespective of this. And a lot of them can be done from home and would require minimal time investment. So that means whether you're crunched for time, or you want to prioritize your CAT prep, or maybe you're getting into college this year and have only a few short months to enhance your profile, there'll be something out here to help you. I've organized these strategies into three aspects: work experience and internship, skills and personal branding, and leadership and networking. This isn't in any order of importance, but the idea is that you can pick and choose based on your interests, the time available to you, and your current profile. All of these will help you to learn, gain new experiences, and stand out in interviews, which will give you that edge. Because just as the CAT score has a high weightage for your initial shortlist, your interview score has a high weightage for your final selection. But one quick caveat before we start. These tips are not going to help you to get shortlisted. When it comes to shortlisting, IIMs and other top B schools will primarily consider your CAT percentile. And aside from that, they will look at your academics, your diversity factors, and work experience. Now, there's only so much that you can do in these other factors. Your CAT score, of course, is more or less in your hands. But when it comes to work experience, maybe you can tack on a few months if you've already graduated, or maybe you can improve your academic scores if you are still in college. But this is going to move the needle only a little bit. So why should you even spend time with these, especially when I've said that your CAT score is the most important? The reason is because in your final interviews, the institutes are going to interview you one-on-one, and they are looking at your skills. They want to know your experiences because they want to figure out if you would be a good manager and are you a good fit for their B school. So when you're able to give them these experiences, they'll understand that you have the practical management skills which are needed. This could be around organizing, maybe around marketing, finance, number crunching, whatever it is, as well as other things such as teamwork, communication, leadership. These experiences will help you get an idea of what life will be after a B school. What is the sort of work that you could do, albeit a smaller snapshot. And it will also help you to answer some of the HR questions that come up in interviews, such as what is the challenge you face, when have you demonstrated leadership, have you taken any initiative, are you a leader or a team player, and similar questions. So with that, let's dive in. And let's start with work experience and internships. Now, when it comes to MBA, most B schools will consider work experience only after you have graduated. Even if you have been working for 8 to 10 hours somewhere before this would still be considered as internship. So depending on where you are, you can either take up work or an internship. When it comes to work experience, this is something which can actually directly add to your composite score. And even if you're starting work now sometime in March or April, and it's just a few months before, IIMs consider your work experience because they'll do it till the 31st of July. This will definitely boost your learning and add some value because you will have that sort of real world experience and exposure. This can also showcase your interest in MBA or your interest in a particular specialization such as finance or marketing if you have found relevant work experience. And this is a great way of if you are not coming from a commerce background. So if you're an engineer or you have some other background, one of the common questions which comes up in interviews is why do you want to pursue an MBA? So if you have taken up a role which is similar to what a manager would do or in these areas, then this helps to demonstrate your interest. In case if you are not up for a promotion or you've been working for less than a year, if you're able to put your hand up for initiatives, this also will showcase the impact that you've had in your company, and it can also showcase your skills, your creativity, your analytical skills, organizing skills, as well as your work ethic, because you're not just doing your own work, you're also volunteering for other things. And now let's look for some relevant experience that you can take up. When it comes to finance, a lot of the times, these are roles which you get only if you have a commerce background. So there are some other things which you can do, which we'll talk about when it comes to internships and certifications. Marketing, on the other hand, is something which you can typically do irrespective of your background. So digital marketing or something like SEO, content creation, these are things which typically you will get opportunities irrespective of what you studied. You could also probably take up roles in sales or roles in marketing, such as a research analyst. Supply chain again is something which usually is open. This can be around operations or around supply chain. This could also be roles in the service sector, say something around automation or working in e-commerce firms. So, firms like Amazon have a lot of operations and logistics roles. And this is also true in, other logistics firms, maybe shipping and all. Uh, Consulting is something which is a little bit tougher, especially at an undergrad level, but you can get analyst roles, or you could also do somewhat adjacent work such as business development or market research or even equity research, or you could take up any role which is available in a consultancy or in the strategy team of any company, right? Remember that even if you're not getting relevant experience, if you've been placed through campus placements into some other role, especially if you're not from a commerce background, that will also help. While the work itself might not be relevant, there are multiple things that you could volunteer, which I'll touch about, but the work experience itself will teach you a lot of skills and will help you answer a lot of points. And of course, any form of work experience, as long as it's after graduation, is going to count towards your composite score. In case if your work is not relevant and you want to demonstrate that interest in MBA, or maybe you work for a few short months and a promotion is not up in the cards, but you definitely want to showcase your skills and your work ethic, these are some initiatives that you can take up. If you're working in let's say in the technical field, or maybe even in research and things like that, where you might not be directly interacting with the client, ask if you can sit in on client presentations, or you can even volunteer to prepare them. Interacting with clients or taking up any initiatives where you're working with a team showcases your team spirit, your communication skills, as well as your leadership. So both of these type of activities would definitely be helpful. Other things which you can do is, if you see that there is something in your company which is maybe going a little slow, or maybe there are constant issues or customer complaints in a particular area, right? So if you can try to automate that process, or you can try to improve that process, that again becomes a great learning experience. It's probably something that your boss will appreciate and at least maybe give you an award or a referral. And it's obviously a talking point as well for interviews. You could also volunteer for organizing events. Majority of companies will have some town hall or some event or the other which you could volunteer for. And if you've been working for 6 to 12 months at least, then you can also put your hand up for training the next batch of joinees. You can also work on streamlining documentation. Say if you joined and you realize that there isn't a proper knowledge transfer happening, or you had to really run around to learn all of the skills that you needed, this is again something which you can take up. So it can be in terms of documentation or optimizing any other processes which are there, and these would definitely be appreciated. Another thing which you could do is, if the company doesn't really have a full-fledged website, or if there's a blog or social media, you could volunteer to develop content for that. In case if it's a company which doesn't have a functional website, as a techie, you could even volunteer to create the website for them, or social media pages. These are definitely helpful. And one thing which could definitely make you stand out is benchmarking your competitors. So if you figure out the top 3 or 4 competitors that your company has, and you analyze their strengths, and maybe present to your team lead or your boss, saying that these are the things which we are doing well, so this is what we should highlight, or these are the things which they are doing better. This is definitely something which will stand out no matter what specialization you are interested in, but definitely for consulting. Now, if you're still in college, internships are a great way to showcase that you are responsible, especially if you are taking up multiple internships, because a lot of times one internship is required. This will also help you gain relevant experience, or develop the relevant skills which are needed. And a lot of the times you can take up internships in the management related areas. Again, some of the ones which I had mentioned, like finance or marketing or operations. It really doesn't matter what the stipend is. It could even be unpaid, but if it is something relevant, or if it is something at a prominent company, I would definitely encourage you to take it up, because this is a great way to get some learning and to showcase in your IM or other interview that this is an area that you're interested in. Aside from this, it can also give you real world exposure into how corporates work, and it can add diversity to your profile and to your interview answers. For example, if they're asking you a lot of HR questions, you will have some examples from your internship, rather than giving a lot of school or college examples. So how do you find internships? Now, these are some of the sources where you could find regular internships, what are typically like, for 2 to 3 months, Internshala, LinkedIn, Let's Intern. And you can also take up virtual internships at virtualinternships.com or Forage. And this is a great way to learn skills and to also showcase well-known companies on your CV, because a lot of these virtual internships will be from some of the top companies, and that's a great way in which you can build your CV and build your profile. These are some specific examples of roles that you could take up, and you can also look for relevant courses in the virtual internship sites. Now let's come to the next aspect, which is developing your skills and your personal brand. Now, these are the four major ways in which you can do it. And let's start with how you can develop your personal brand on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, or other social media. Now, first off, the benefits. This is something which definitely develops your online presence. It gives you a talking point, and it's also helpful for upcoming interviews in case if the interviewer is Googling you. This will typically not happen for MBA, but can happen for work. This is also something which will definitely boost your knowledge as well as your communication skills. This can be, your writing if this is posting on LinkedIn, or definitely, your speaking skills if this is on YouTube or Instagram. You can also demonstrate your the merit or the capability that you have if you have a lot of followers or you have a lot of views. And this is a great way to stand out in interviews. You will have a lot of people who will be working, who will have internships, who would maybe have courses and all. But if you have your own social media page and you've been posting frequently and you have a sizable followers, or maybe you have some brand partnerships and things like that, this would be a major differentiator. And lastly, this definitely helps you to learn creativity, and you could also pick up technical and SEO skills. So how do you do it? Now, these are some recommendations that I have, irrespective of the platform. First off, start by optimizing your profile. So this can be your LinkedIn page or your YouTube channel page or Instagram, whatever it is. Before you even start creating content, choose your target audience and structure your topics and the way you speak or write around that. For example, if you are having let's say an Instagram page about something which is your interest, then you want to align it to finding like-minded individuals. Or similarly, if you want to have a YouTube channel which is documenting how you are preparing for MBA, again your target audience would probably be others who are preparing for MBA. So then you can choose topics which they would also be interested in. In case if it is different and you want to maybe have something where ultimately you want brand partnerships, your target audience could remain the same, but the topics and the way you speak could be very different, maybe a little bit more formal, and maybe you'll focus more on the followers that you have and how to increase that number quickly. You can also experiment with different formats. So again, if I speak of social media, it could be having long form videos, or maybe shorter video reels and shorts and things like that. See what works best for you. Definitely posting frequently is something which will help. I would say at least twice a week, because given that you have a few months to a year, you want to gain that following, and more important, you want to have that sizable body of content, right? And this is also a good way in which you can connect with others. These can be people with a similar profile as you, your contemporaries, or these could also be industry leaders. Now, this is of course something which is a little bit easier to do if you're on LinkedIn, because you will be able to follow a lot of pages, you'll be able to recommend that people follow you, and so on. And make sure that your content is compelling. You can use tech tools, so these can be around SEO or editing, or visual tools such as Canva or the Adobe Suite, and engage with your audience. Ask them questions, understand what is it that they want, pay attention to comments, maybe have polls or ask me anything sessions, and this again will help to develop your brand and get more people to know you. And this especially works if you're an expert in some area, or you are very interested in some area. So this can be something as basic as I'm really interested in watching movies, and I have an Instagram page which is around movie reviews, right? It doesn't need to be something super serious. As long as it's something which is a fresh take, you are coming up with authentic content and you're posting frequently, it's probably something that will work. Speaking of which, if this content is interesting, then definitely smash the like button and consider subscribing, because there's a lot more to come. And now let's come to the next strategy, which is participating in business or case competitions. This will demonstrate relevant skills. So say if you're an engineer and you have a lot of research papers or hackathons that you've participated in, versus if you're participating in case competitions, these are the skill sets which are more required for an MBA grad. So even participating in multiple competitions would probably be a little more relevant. It definitely demonstrates your skills, especially if you're a finalist or you're winning, and it adds a lot of credibility. Again, when they ask you why are you interested in MBA, you can tell them that, hey, I've done this, I've tested it out for myself, and it's something that I like and something I'm really good at, because I won these 3 competitions, I was a finalist at a couple more. So this is something which would definitely interest them, and make the interviewers realize that you'll be a good fit for their B-school. This also gives you achievements to add in your application forms and to talk about during the interviews. It's something which will be helpful even after you've got through, and it will definitely work on the softer aspects as well, such as your teamwork, your presentation, communication, leadership skills, and things like that. So what are some examples where you could participate? Now, some general sources, I would say Unstop is probably the best one, but you also have Young India, which is more on the corporate side. You have companies which have their own competitions, and you also have certain news sites which would also have competition. So I would say start off with Unstop, definitely, but consider all of these. The more you participate in, the higher your chances of winning, and definitely the more that you learn. And some ways in which you could increase the chances of winning, make sure that you have a strong team. If 4 or 5 of you are preparing for CAT, then you all could get together and participate in competitions, or it could be your team from college or work or something like that. If possible, try to have a mentor, ideally somebody in a B school or somebody who's graduated in the last 2-3 years, so that they can guide you. You can also learn problem solving techniques. So we already have some videos around the pestle model and BCG matrix, and also things like these are helpful. You can also look at what are past case competitions. You can practice it out before newer ones. You can look at winning entries wherever published, and see if you're able to understand what or what is the structure, or what is the way in which a winning team does the work. You could also research some market trends. So say for example, if it's a finance competition, then knowing some modeling method, financial modeling methods which you could get from books or online resources, or if it is something around marketing or strategy or something like that, then understanding where the market is going, what are some techniques which work, would definitely help. And now we come to the next one, which is if you have an interest, then you can convert it into a side hustle, right? So it goes from a hobby to something which either is paid or unpaid, but a little bit more formal than just a hobby. What this does is this definitely demonstrates your creativity as well as your entrepreneurial talents and initiative. This will definitely boost your execution skills, because it's not just something that, hey, I like reading books or watching movies or cooking or dancing or whatever it is. You are actively working on this part. This can be a major differentiator again, because a lot of people, as I said, would participate in courses. They might have work experience or internship, but if you have done something on your own, you've taken something and built something from scratch, not many people would be able to say that. So this definitely can be a differentiator, especially if you've been able to monetize it. So this could be something like the social media aspect that we spoke about, or maybe your hobby is creating or building something and you've been able to sell it, or maybe it's something like dance or music, and you've been able to host workshops, paid workshops, right? Uh, Irrespective of whether it's paid or unpaid, this can also give you a lot of insight into what goes into a business, right? So you learn a lot of skills. It won't just be that one aspect. You will probably learn finance, because you'll be thinking in terms of money. It could be marketing and promotions, operations, conducting. A lot of skills that you would learn. And here are some examples as to how you can do it. So certain unpaid things which can be there: if you enjoy reading, you can start a book club. Anything else you could, it could be an Instagram page. Maybe if you're into photography, right? So something like an Instagram page or a website really works. Anything which you're interested, where you'll have like-minded people, you can have some form of a club or even a local gathering where people come together. Or you could look to organize events. These could be workshops, or these could be talks, things like say TEDx talks and stuff like that. So if you're really interested in an area, who are the 2 or 3 experts in that area, and can you get them to be part of a TEDx talk or something like that. Other things which you can do, content, you can directly create content, and you could also look to monetize it. This can be directly through viewership, through ads, affiliate sales, brand partnerships. There's a bunch of things which you can do, and it'll be great fun and learning along the way. If your skill set is more attuned to the tech side, then creating a website or developing an app, or maybe utilizing some AI tools and building on it will work. You could do this for your own, like you can have your own website or app which you can put up in the Play Store and the iOS store, or you could also partner with companies and do it. So think of some of the smaller companies. So take restaurants or shops. A lot of them would not be tech savvy, and they might not have a tech team, right? But you can go in and you can pitch something to them, and you can develop it for them. And it doesn't even matter if it is unpaid in the beginning, or you could have some form of a revenue sharing agreement. You could also have a small business of your own. This could be through Shopify, this can be through Instagram ads, or you can directly, even sell stuff on Meesho if you're interested in like arts and crafts and things like that. Or maybe, you are passionate about something and you feel that, let's say, the apparel or painting or things like that from your state or your area is something which everybody should experience. If your interests are more on the financial side, then something like trading. This can be trading with real money, or this can be like a virtual portfolio. Anything of this sort is also good. And you could also look to freelance. So I put up a few examples as to where you can get freelancing work, or you can also have your own website, or you can start publishing a blog on LinkedIn and talk about this aspect, and either use that to pitch to companies or wait for companies to find you. And last is courses and certifications. These are usually easier. For example, you take up a course, you finish it, it becomes a direct CV point, versus say a competition where you may or may not win and there can be multiple rounds. This would also take less time as opposed to having like maybe a Shopify page or a YouTube channel or something like that. This does add a little bit less value. That is why from some of the other points that we've discussed earlier, but this can definitely boost your profile and give you a bunch of advantages. This can showcase your interest in developing yourself, something that goes a long way when it comes to interviews. And since here you'll be going for relevant courses and certifications, this definitely demonstrates your commitment towards MBA, especially if you're from a non-commerce background. Anything which you learn in these courses or certifications, of course you can speak about it in the interview, so that's something which will probably directly help you to answer questions and get marks. Sometimes relevant certifications can even add to your composite score. So something like a CA or a CFA will typically be considered by IIMs, and they would actually add to your composite score. The flip side of this is these certifications are some of the toughest ones and will take much more time than say a Google Analytics certification or something like that. So make sure that you are able to find time along with your CAT prep. But if you already have a certification, then that definitely is going to go a long way. And this can also help you in summer internships. Since it will be relevant certifications, again, this can help your profile to stand out. So what are some relevant courses and certifications that you can take? Here I've given you examples based on what is the area that you're interested in. So finance, one of the easier ones will be getting some of those NSE certifications. You can also look at LinkedIn, the Corporate Finance Institute, FRM for risk management, CFA. It will be tougher and more expensive, but if you're very keen on finance and you have some time on your hand, then these would be the best ones. Marketing, again, there's a bunch of courses that you could take up. I've given a few examples based on what you are interested in. For consulting, you will have resources from consulting websites as well as from places like Harvard. And operations, this will be a little bit more on the tech front, so something like Six Sigma, being a Scrum Master, getting some project management certification. These are things again which will help. Certain general sources where you could pick up courses around any of these specializations, or you could take up something a little simpler like say Excel, or more general things like communication, leadership, negotiation. These are the ones that you could opt for. Again, Harvard, MIT, even IIMs, right, have a lot of courses of their own. Remember that some of these courses can be paid if you want a certificate. A lot of the times, if your intention is to just learn or just talk about it in interviews, you can just go for the course and not pay, but you have the learning. So that's it for the personal branding and learning segment. And now let's get into leadership and networking. So when it comes to leadership and networking, these are some of the main things that you could look at. And I would say the most important would be taking up leadership roles and initiatives. Now, this can be taking up leadership roles in your college. So this you can be part of the student council, or you could be part of a core committee for a fest. You could yourself host an event. This can be something like a competition or a TEDx, things like that. And similar things can be done at work also, right? So at work, if there's any initiative and there are people across teams, right? So you could volunteer to be a part of it. You could volunteer to lead some initiative. If there is nothing at work, you can even come up with a suggestion, combine it with some of the earlier things that we've spoken about. See if you can lead an effort to automate things or simplify things or something of that sort. Or it could just be as simple as just hosting an event. What this does is this demonstrates key skills that you have, right? And these are things which managers need, whether it is working with teams or leading teams, communicating with people and getting a team together to get things done, or it is the practical skills aspect of maybe organizing an event, managing, let's say, fundraising or the marketing and promotion, maybe managing logistics, hospitality. All of these skills are essential for managers, and the more you have this, the more you are demonstrating that you have what it takes to be a manager, and you'll be a great fit for whichever college you are interviewing for. This can also be great if you're still in college, because for those who are working, there are typically a lot of things that you can talk about in terms of having a project, working with a team, maybe facing a challenge, maybe volunteering. But if you're in college, there might be limited opportunities. So the more that you're participating, the maybe as I said, being part of your student council or being part of some organizing committee and things like that, this would become a great differentiator. And especially when they ask you something like, why do you want to pursue an MBA now and not after gaining work experience of 1 to 2 years? If you have initiatives like these under your belt, then you can tell them that, hey, I already have learned some of the practical aspects, and now I really want to move ahead and pursue a formal MBA as soon as possible. We'll talk more about these interview questions closer to the interview, of course. But certain other benefits will include that as you're working, it will help with communicating with teams, negotiating. There might be, a couple of people each has a different idea. So who are you going to, sort of go with without me, while ensuring that the other person doesn't get upset, making quick decisions, dealing with, the problems which will definitely come up. And that is what helps you to develop managerial skills. And it definitely strengthens your profile if you're able to say something like, so I was part of the student council, or, I was part of this committee, whether at college or at work, and, we had this event and we brought in a footfall which was like 1.5x of, what others had, or it was the first time that, we had this event and we got so many colleges that are interested, or, at work, I realized that there's this gap. So I came up with this initiative, and that is something which improved operational efficiency by 20% or something like that, right? So these are great points to have on your CV and your application form. So what exactly can you do? Now, when it comes to leadership initiatives, in college, typically you will have a lot of options. At work, what you could do is you could come up with some initiative, or you could volunteer for it. So this can be, being part of some existing group which is already there, or it could be, as I said, telling your manager that, hey, I realize that this is something which maybe, will improve the work here, will improve the efficiency. So can I work on it? You could also have competition. So this can be, intra company, where within your company, maybe, there's something which is happening. Usually your the website of your company will give you ideas. You can also participate in, let's say, sectoral or industry level competition. So a lot of times you have, let's say, something like an ET Business Award, to like, something on your story for entrepreneurs, or multiple different competitions which are there. You could be part of the team that's representing your company, right? This would be somewhat similar to how you've had at college, of course. If none of these are there, you can also choose to mentor new joinees, especially if you've been there for 6 to 12 months. Then you can mentor one or two of the newbies that have come in. Irrespective of whether you're in college or at work or you're preparing full time, you can definitely participate in events. But organizing events is something which takes it up a notch. You can organize TEDx within your city or in your college. You could organize competitions, and if there's something which then you can also have a maybe a free webinar or a workshop talking about it. So let's say maybe you're an expert in AI, right? So then you can have like a webinar explaining to people how they could practically use AI, and you can extrapolate it to anything that you are good at. You could also look to brush up your skills. So the IIMs have leadership courses, Harvard does. There's a lot of these, and you also have some of these on Udemy and other places. So these are things which might give you some of the the practical skills which you need. And usually the way it's structured is they'll also have small exercises for you, right? So this is almost like easing your way. And last, you could also look to start a new initiative. So say in your college, you're not getting through a core committee, or there aren't too many of these. Maybe, the fest is after some time, or the student council elections are already done. You can start some initiative. This can be as simple as, oh, let's just make sure that, the college campus is clean, or let's, make it as green as possible, as sustainable as possible. Hey, I noticed that, our department doesn't have like, a body. So let's start that, right? So it could be something like that. These days, there are a lot of these government competitions. So I've recently, for example, done a video on Viksit Bharat. So there, in that video, in the link, you will have the My Government website, where there are usually competitions and internships that are available. So that's also something which you could do. And you could also lead CSR initiatives. So this could be something like a beach cleanup, or planting a certain number of trees, or maybe just going around and collecting all the use notebooks and paper, so that can be recycled, right? Maybe trying to convince people to stop using plastic or stuff like that, right? So think broad, right? Look around you, see what are the issues which are there at hand, what are things which you could do to make your college or your company, or just your society, your city better. Any of these would be great talking points. Now, something which is a little tougher than this is public speaking, right? This is something which is very crucial when it comes to MBAs, especially in GD and in the interviews. Public speaking is something which really helps. It also helps you for the VAT, right? The written ability test, because if you're able to think and speak on a topic, trust me, you'll definitely be able to write about it. But at the same time, this is something which a lot of people are a little scared about, and it's primarily because you have not done too much of it, right? If as a kid you participate in a lot of elocution and debates, or even like things like paper presentations or competitions, this definitely becomes easier, and that is something which we can do even now. Certain other benefits, definitely it enhances your communication skills. It's also something which refines your leadership skills. Why do I say that when it's a solo event and you're speaking? First off, a lot of times there can be group events, but a much bigger benefit is you're putting yourself out there, right? You might be nervous about it, everybody is, right? But then if you go in, you accept a challenge, you speak about something, and you're able to get the audience to listen to you, that really boosts your leadership skills, because that's what a leader does. A leader puts their hand up and says, I'm up for this challenge, I'll work with this team, and I'll get this difficult thing done, right? And that's exactly what you're doing when you're signing up for public speaking. If you have done a significant number of events, maybe you've hosted a couple in your college or at work, and or maybe once a month you have this like informal or formal group where you've been speaking, this is a great thing to put on your application forms, on your LinkedIn profile, on your CV, because it definitely boosts your personal brand. It really says something when maybe everyone is perhaps writing about things or just know things, whereas you have gone and you've put yourself out there and you have actually spoken about different topics. Definitely this is a direct benefit, reduces this fear, and it's also something which will make you more confident when it comes to the MBA interviews. And even during your MBA or after, this is something which will be very helpful. If you're looking for anything which is client facing, this can be in finance, definitely in marketing, consulting, right? That will probably be the main one. Having a history of public speaking or having spoken a few times will make you much better at this. And throughout MBA, right, you'll have case study discussions, you'll have presentations, and the same thing will happen at work. And this is something which will be really helpful for that aspect as well. And especially at work, if you have a lot of seniors or a lot of peers also, right, that's something which is differentiating you, if you're able to stand up and you're able to deliver a flawless presentation. So how do we do it? First off, I would say start by watching, right? Watch people speak. TED Talks is a great resource for that. I've put a couple here, which are more around speaking, but there's a few more that we will put in the blog post. You can also look at people who are, well known for their skill of engaging an audience and speaking in public. Steve Jobs, definitely the Apple marketing events are things that you can go for. Local example would be Shashi Tharoor. Probably the, English is something at a much higher level, but he's definitely someone who can keep you interested and engaged and speak about any topic. Once that is done, you can also look at taking up courses if you feel you need a little bit extra guidance on this. So these are some examples. Harvard has a great one. Udemy also has a good one. Again, we'll link these for you in the blog post. And then what you can do is, if you want to start small, you can start with basic elevator pitches, right? Practice, tell me about yourself in a minute or a minute and a half, right? Participate in presentations. You can just, try to deliver it at home and then go and, present it. But if you're in college, then, you typically have these paper presentations. If you're working or you're preparing full time, try to sign up for online competitions. You can get it at Unstop. Other sources such as Paytm and all also tend to have events, and you can opt for local events. Another thing you can do is start a podcast. This is something which you can just do from home. But as you are doing it maybe on a weekly basis, you'll see that you get better and better, and you start getting more comfortable, and then you can go out and you can actually deliver speeches in public. If you feel this is something that you're really nervous about, you can also start just by recording yourself speaking, right? So this can be just recording yourself on your phone or your laptop. Pick a topic. Either you can do it like an extempore, where you can just Google a list of topics. Maybe I can put them for you in the blog post, and you can just give yourself a minute to think, and then a minute or a minute and a half to speak. Or you can take some topics which you practiced well, and then just just record yourself speaking on it. You don't need to do anything with it, they can just be with you. But this is something which gets you more comfortable with the idea, and then you can start actually speaking, right? So Toastmasters would be a good one, which is like done in a very well organized way. Typically you'll have one in your city. You could also host a TEDx, right? Even if there's no TED talk which is happening, you can host a TEDx, you can speak, or maybe you can organize it the first time and then speak the next time. If there is one which is happening in your college, at work, or somewhere in your city, see if you can participate. There are typically also open competitions, elocution competitions, speech, things like these, as well as debate. So this is something which you can sign up for as well. And here are a few more ideas that you can look. One tip for you is try and use the framework. So something like, the Pestle model or Porter's Five Forces or SWOT, these are all things for which you have videos or shorts on our channel. So you can check that out next. And the next one, and this is something which is a little easier, but with a little bit of your time investment, you can actually cause a significant impact. You can not just improve your profile, but you can feel really good about yourself knowing that you have done a lot of things, right? Definitely demonstrate social responsibility, especially if this is something you've been doing on a consistent basis, say once a week or something like that. It definitely will teach you a different perspective, right? This is something which is done in a lot of these schools. I myself was part of the social initiative committee when I was at IIM Lucknow, and when you just try to do something for those that are less fortunate, to use a somewhat cheesy term, it shows you a different perspective. And at the same time, I have to say that all of the experiences that I have had, majority of them have been positive. Of course, there will be things which could be a little depressing, but there are a lot of positive things, because you see that people, no matter what the background, want to succeed, want to get ahead, and if they get the right tools, they definitely can. One thing that we had done at IIM Lucknow, for example, was giving sweaters to all of the government school children who had attended a full year of college. And Lucknow, of course, is pretty cold, right? So that was something which was very heartwarming, and it was amazing to see all of those kids who might have started out trying to go to school every day for this, but ultimately it's the education that they're getting and the experience, and being with their friends, their batchmates. So that is something which will happen to you as well, and it can have like a far-reaching impact when you yourself are a manager. It definitely develops your leadership skills, because you're going out there, you're volunteering, you're trying to solve problems. A lot of the times in work like this, you might not have a significant budget, right? Or you might have people who are initially volunteering but dropping out. So how do you still get the work done? Or it could be as basic as hey, you're teaching a bunch of students English or maths, and there are certain challenges or certain gaps which are there, which you're dealing with, right? So these are things which would definitely develop your problem solving skills. If you are doing it through your work or through some well-known organization, it can also be a bit of networking opportunity. And now I know that we don't usually do it for this, but this becomes a great way in which you could reach out to people who have either been doing it for long, or people from the industry, or maybe seniors at your work or college, who have been interested in this, and it'll again be a great way to connect with them. It could also similarly give you an opportunity to work with global organizations, so NGOs, UN bodies. There's a bunch of these which are there. A good way to figure this out, I'll give you some examples, but what you can also do is you can just use the internet and search for opportunities where you can volunteer. Some direct ways, these are some examples for teaching. You could also find a group of students, maybe from the nearest government school, or if you have like there's somebody who's who's from a like an underprivileged background, and you just want to help them out. So that's something which can be done. Some more examples depending on what your interest is, right? And some general sources that you can look at. A lot of times NGOs post internships at Internshala. You can also go directly to the NGO site, see if your work or college, you have a Rotaract club, and sometimes you can also reach out on LinkedIn and see if there are any opportunities for this. Aside from this, some things that you could do on your own could be hosting a fundraiser or having some sort of a sales drive, right? A lot of times companies particularly tie up with certain NGOs, and people would come and they would sell things. Either those would be donated, as in the proceeds would be donated to help people of that charity, or you could have people that the NGO is working with who have made stuff, right? This was something that I'd experienced when I was working at HSBC. So something similar is usually there in colleges and especially at workplace. So you could volunteer to be a part of it. If nothing like that is there, ask if you can actually partner with an NGO and do it. You might have to just team up with your HR personnel and do that. And again, in college, this can be something that you can definitely host. Volunteering with NGOs, I've already given you a few examples here. And you could also lead local initiatives, right? So if there's maybe some unfortunate disaster which has happened, right? So can you be part of the tactical team that's helping out, or can you help in like getting resources or things like that? Or could you just do something like okay, let's start a group and let a bunch of us, let's go and we can help in planting trees, or a couple other examples which I've given, like let's just go and collect all the used books and just see if that's taken for recycling. Let's start a recycling drive. So there's a lot of these which you could just start simply on your own. And now coming to the last one, which is brushing up your current affairs and writing essays. These are things which will have a direct impact when it comes to your final selection, because all of this is of course helping you to practice early on, right? The more you know current affairs and the more you're writing essays, and you could even combine it with the public speaking part and record yourself speaking for 1 minute or just practice it out, right? The better or the easier the final selection process is going to be for you. This definitely enhances your knowledge. Current affairs is something which is crucial for MBA grads, and the more you know, and more important, the more you write or the more you speak, this will also enhance your analytical and critical thinking skills. 100% will develop your communication skills, spoken and written, goes without saying. It'll probably also boost your fluency and your confidence. This is also a great way to differentiate yourself when it comes to interviews, because you will have a lot of MBA aspirants who might not be interested or might not be able to take out the time to prepare for current affairs. So if you're starting early, you're starting somewhere around now, then there's probably a lot more that you will know. And this is something which can be helpful even once you've got into a B school. When it comes to classes, you'll have case study discussions, you could have GD practice, of course you'll have your placement interviews. So the more you know, definitely the more you can speak up, and this can definitely help you to do well in your summer placements as well. So what are the sources that we go for? Now, first off, make sure that these are the things which you are tracking: the global and the Indian economy, events. This can be wide ranging from conflicts to free trade events to elections, sports events, something related to space, ISRO doing something, NASA doing something, China doing maybe sending a rocket. So things like these. Any key laws or judgments which are there, right? Especially by the Supreme Court or by High Court within your state. Mockat curated news is a great source for this. You can check out the 5 articles that we have daily. My recommendation would be start with one and then build the momentum. We also have a playlist over here at this channel where every week I'm posting news which every MBA grad should know. So that again is something where you can watch it in a video format if that's preferable. When it comes to news, look for a little bit of more business news, right? And you can also follow, say, something like a Think School, or there are also sometimes LinkedIn blogs where you have industry leaders who will post a blog. To go more in depth into understanding a sector or a company, the Ken is a great resource. It's paid. You also have something like The Wire, and definitely looking at editorials is something which helps. So if you take Hindu editorials and all, for example, make sure that you are not reading only left-leaning or right-leaning editorials. Get a mix so that you get a general understanding. But editors are people who have been following these topics for years and years, right? So we can definitely benefit from their opinion. These are some research reports that you could look at if you want to go more in depth. So RBI, as well as a lot of banking reports come up, government Niti Aayog papers, anything like a EY or a KPMG, some of the big four or other research reports. You'll also have something like a Standard and Poor, the credit rating agencies. Again, they come up with reports. So this can be about sectors or about India itself, right? I would not recommend going too much in depth into company reports. But if you are from a commerce background or you're interested in accounting, then that's also something which you can take up. The reason why I said I wouldn't recommend it for others is because it could just then be a time sink, right? But if there's a specific sector that you're interested in, or a couple of companies that you're following or you're investing in, that's definitely great. Now, don't just read it. Make sure that you're practicing speaking about it. You can practice an essay once a week, right? Use what you've learned, give it a structure using some of the videos which I spoke about. And you could also look to start a blog or a podcast, or you can even post videos. And this is something which will keep you accountable, right? If you just have a plan saying I'll do it once a week, there might be times when you're not able to follow this goal, or you're sort of leaving your current affairs because there's exams, or work is hectic or something like that, or you just let it go. But if you are publishing on a weekly basis or twice a week or something like that, then this is something which, as I said, will keep you accountable. Now, staying updated on current affairs and practicing VAT essays or extempore is a great way to prep right away for your final selection. Remember to prioritize your CAT. As I said, that's your number one priority. But for this bit, one resource that you can definitely use is the Mockat news playlist. I'll put it up for you here so you can check out some of the videos, and definitely subscribe because we'll be posting weekly videos on this one. Aside from the news aspect, take up something in each of the 3 segments, so work or internship or even just some life project to give you that experience. Develop your skills or develop your personal brand, and refine your leadership and other practical management skills. So that's it for this video. If you found these suggestions useful, definitely consider liking and subscribe, because there's going to be a lot more content here. Let us know in the comments which of these initiatives you like and what are you going to follow. And if you have any other questions, again, put it in the comments and we'll help you out. And if you really want to crack CAT 2025 and you want to get through an IIM or other top B school, then sign up at Mockat today and prep with 99.9+ percentiles. All the best.